Good morning, everyone. Thanks for being here today. My name is Steve Sheets. I've been honored to fill in for Jack this morning. The Groverlands are on a well-deserved vacation right now. So they asked me to fill in here this morning. So Jack's a great speaker. I'm going to do my best to fill in his shoes. So I'm jumping in his shoes, and then I'm going to jump really high and catch the edge of his shoes and pull myself up and speak with you now. So we'll start out with an opening prayer, and then I'd like to share some thoughts and words with you. Then we'll go into a guided meditation and into some silent meditation. And then we'll do tithes and have a closing. So that's the kind of the agenda for this morning, essentially. So I do have my notes. I'll try not to read and rely on them too much, but I know that I will. Just want to really kind of start out by saying that on September 10th and September 11th, Unity is having what they call their 24-hour World Day of Prayer. And this is something they do every year. It's a fabulous experience. They try to get as many people across the world to participate in this 24 hours. So you can actually visit Unity Village during that time. You can also log in remotely for some of the activities and the ceremonies. Can everyone hear me okay? So part of their activity is they have a theme and affirmation. And for this year, it's in the stillness, I awaken to divine wisdom. And they always put out an affirmation prayer, and so I would like to use that as our opening prayer today. So if we could kind of enter the prayer space as I say this prayer. A prayer of stillness and knowing. I pause, I breathe, I turn inward to the quiet space where truth resides. To be still is not to do nothing. It is to release the need to struggle, to let go of the noise that clouds my mind, and to settle into the deep presence of God within me. To be still is to listen, to trust, to rest in the knowing that I am already held, already guided, already whole. In this sacred stillness, I remember I am not alone. God is here, not as a distant presence, but as the very life within me. God is the love that heals, the wisdom that clarifies, the substance that sustains. I do not need to reach for what is already mine. I do not need to fear when divine truth is my foundation. So I surrender my thoughts of lack and the weight of uncertainty. I open my heart to the quiet assurance that all I need is here. The answers unfold in divine timing. The path reveals itself in perfect order. There is no rush, only trust. No force, only faith. I rise from this moment, not with the urgency of the world, but with the peace of knowing. I move forward with confidence, anchored in the stillness that speaks beyond words. I carry this presence with me into all that I do, allowing it to shape my thoughts, my words, and my actions. I am still, and I know. Amen. So, I was a runner and an ultimate player, competitive ultimate player for a lot of my life, and a lot of my training and was centered around peaking twice a year for races and significant ultimate tournaments. I won't go into what ultimate is, but maybe some of you know. But sometimes it was often asked of me that, why do you run? Why do you jog? I hated that question. Why do you jog? Because I was a runner, not a jogger. And so I'd always kind of stop and I'd pause as if I'm trying to search for the answer. But really what I was doing is just letting this deep passion for these sports to rise to the surface in my answer. And I'd always say, well, a lot of people, they run because they think it's healthy, and if I run because if I don't, I'll die. I mean, what a dramatic answer that was. So later on in life, as I'm going through different challenges, and I'm kind of on my spiritual path, I kind of coupled that idea and just realized the passion that I had for those two sports, and wanted to bring them into more aspects of my life, especially in some of these deep challenges that I was struggling with. And I kind of coupled it as I started to learn about what was called the warrior spirit. It's just this approach, this deep passion to getting something done where failure is not an option. And so that became kind of a big deal and kind of a big approach. And warrior spirit is about resilience, courage, integrity, passion, humility, empathy, self-discipline, focus, truth, honor, perseverance, tenacity, conviction. It's about letting your lion roar. So how do I bring this spirit in more places into my life? How do I tap into that almost dramatic response that I used to give to running? And so I kind of crafted some words that I put on paper, and eventually even framed it and put it into a location in my house where I see it often. So I'd like to share those with you right now. Our warrior spirit, it's a call to action. Give yourself 100% focus because your life depends on it. Back to that dramatic answer, but I'm leveraging it. Give yourself 100% focus because if you don't, you will die. In your head, in your heart, in your hands, in your spirit, in your love, in service, in kindness, in clarity, in truth, with intention, creativity, enthusiasm, tenacity, perseverance, integrity, courage, and love, and with all of your heart and soul. Knowledge, dreams, goals are empty until they become conviction, until they become action, until they become muscle and accomplishment. So just let me repeat that. Let's think about this together. It's not enough to have knowledge, and it's not always enough to be a dreamer, but knowledge, dreams, goals can be empty until they become conviction, action, until they become muscle and accomplishment. So in the book Polishing the Mirror by Ram Dass, I'm going to leverage some of that work, a book that I recently read and co-facilitated a study group with Rigpa. There's a story in there that Ram Dass tells, and I'll kind of read some of this here. So it's a story. It's about an Indian epic called the Ramayana. This is a story from Hindu traditions about a god taking physical form as a warrior prince. This is the name for is Ram. His name is Ram, to guide humanity and strengthen faith. It is this multi-level work of the living spirit intended to stir our impulses towards divinity. One of the main characters is the monkey god. His name is Hanuman. Hanuman represents our lower nature in service to our higher self. Hanuman says to Ram, "When I don't know who I am, I serve you." He's really speaking to the ego there. When I know who I am, you and I are one. So as the story goes, Ram has a wife who represents the soul in the Earth Mother, the Shakti, or power of God. Sita is kidnapped by the demon king, the evil demon king named Ravana. He's a 10-headed evil dude who represents ego and pride. Ram looks far and wide for Sita, enlisting the help of many, including Hanuman, the monkey god. It is found that Ravana has taken Sita to the island of Ceylon, which is later named Sri Lanka, as we know today as Sri Lanka, and it has imprisoned her in a cave. There's a full ocean between the mainland, and this is mainland of India, and Sri Lanka. Ram, Hanuman, and all involved in the search are all there on the shoreline, distraught, not knowing how to cross the ocean separating them from Sita. It was apparent it was going to take a giant leap, and I just add giant leap of faith, an impossible leap to reach Sita and save her. Many started discussing all the possibilities, all the different ways, all the possible solutions, and each one was always coming up with their own limitations on why it was impossible to make that leap. So then they turn to Hanuman, the monkey god, who has so far he's remained quiet. It is Hanuman who has the faith, the conviction, and the power of the entire universe within him. Hanuman's confidence is a symbol of the leap of faith each of us is capable of. Our faith in the universe, faith, all of the power in the universe is within us. Faith in our own divine power to go way beyond ourselves. Hanuman climbs to the highest point along the coast. He reminds himself who he is. In his mind, he's already made the leap. He's already successfully made the leap. He grows very large. He reaches deep. He's feeling his own power. Taking a deep breath, he bends his knees, drew in his neck until draws back his ears, and with all of his might, with all of his might, with all of his warrior spirit, he jumps. His jump is grand, the greatest leap he has ever taken. No one has ever seen such a glorious jump. The rush of air behind him bends the treetops and pulls the blossoms and the flowers into a trail after him. Human lands in Sri Lanka. He finds that he carries her and even made a bigger leap back. So think about those grand leaps we've taken in our lives. I beat cancer last year. I fought hard, and the results were glorious. After giving in over and over, I finally set strong boundaries for myself, and it was grand. I've procrastinated on a project for far too long. I finally knocked it out of the park, and it was glorious. I finally beaten an addiction. It was a hard-fought battle, only one with tenacity, and the biggest leap of my life. It was grand, and it was glorious. So I'd like to extend this thought about, just knocking it out of the park. This thought, this notion about, failure is not a choice. I'd like to tie it into your own divine powers that you all have within you. And these powers are grand and they're glorious. And I want you to find them and fill them with a deep passion, and just know deeply that you have them. Unity and affirmative prayer teaches and reminds us that these 12 divine powers are the following: faith, understanding, will, imagination, zeal, power, love, wisdom, strength, order, release, and life. And I think what I'd like to not necessarily challenge you on, but just embrace these powers, these divine powers that you have within, and just know that you have them, and just knock it out of the park. And always remind yourself, especially in those challenges and those points where you really, where failure is not an option. So just kind of tie this in a little bit with affirmative prayer. I am, part of the prayer team here, so affirmative prayer is about claiming those powers and really dropping the separateness and realizing the truth of your oneness with this universe, and your oneness with those divine powers within you. They're not something that you have to figure out and gain and learn. You just have to know that they're already there. Let me find the reference here. So there's a book on affirmative prayer that speaks to it as this. Affirmative prayer enables us to remember our spiritual self and live from an inner awareness of possibility and potential. It provides a pathway for clearing away limiting beliefs and false ideas about who we think we are. It allows us to boldly declare the spiritual truth that we are and to realize just how much more is possible in our life. It's about our own awakening to what we are capable of being and doing in the world when we remember our spiritual identity. Affirming is about recognizing a universal, reliable spiritual truth and claiming our spiritual power. Affirming is essentially activating this spiritual power. A recent book I read that I really enjoyed and would recommend reading. It's called The Book of Mary Magdalene. And this book is considered one of the, not included in the main Bible, is considered one of the Apocrypha of the Bible. The book is narrated by a gentleman by the name of John Yves Leloup. So he has a lot of commentary in this book that he adds to the book. And the book talks about something called the nous, often described as the finest point of our soul. Not sure if I'm totally pronouncing it right, but I pronounce it nous. Some say today it's the angel of our soul. It is the nous that connects our lower case soul to our uppercase soul. So if you think about our soul that we all have, that maybe we haven't realized our own identity or our own oneness, we still live in that separateness. It refers to that little s soul. And once we've recognized the power of the nous and our ability to connect with this universe, it connects it to your uppercase soul, basically. So furthermore, the absence of the possession pronoun indicates that the nous represents far more than the individual or the personal soul. In the actual Book of Mary, it said, "This is where the nous lies. Where the nous is, lies the treasure." In other words, we become what we love. We become what we know. My desire for being is being itself, desiring itself in me. Or Meister Eckhart Tolle said, "The eye with which I see God is the eye with which he sees me." So I'm still kind of like processing that concept. I sure do like it, the finest point of the soul. So just a few more things to say. You can't, when it comes to finishing things and doing things and knocking them out of the park, and not necessarily leaving them in completion without completing them. So I've already talked about conviction, action, and muscle, and accomplishment. So there really is more to say about that. You can make the case that and I do often, that you can't finish everything, and you can't work on one at a time. A lot of times you start something, get as far as you can. Maybe you're starting 2 or 3 things, and doing them somewhat in parallel, kind of working on them iteratively, kind of progressing them a little bit at a time, just putting out enough in place where you can leverage and use them, knowing that you'll go back to them. So it is good to be kind to yourself when you don't feel like you're knocking it out of the park, when you don't feel like you're in completion, basically. So there is this balance that I have to make, this concept of iteration and And this concept of good enough for now is something that I've used in my engineering career quite a bit. Because there's a point where you have to stop. You have to tell the perfectionist within you to stop. It's good enough for now. I used to work for a CEO in a company who, when it was time to stop, he always had this phrase, and I kind of liked it. I kind of didn't like it, but he used to say, "It's time to shoot the engineer." So many times when that was said, and I'm still kind of fighting the perfectionist, and I'm still trying to work and deliver to my own standards. There was always, after he said that, there was always a few days where I had to come to work with a bulletproof vest just to protect myself, as I at least took it as far as I needed to. Ram Dass, he tells us, making believe you are done with something you are not fully finished with will slow you down on your journey to God. Equally, trying to hold on to something you are done with will also slow your journey. There is that point we need to release that does no longer serve us, to make room for other greatness. 2 Corinthians verses 8:10 to 12. And in this matter I give you my judgment. This benefits you, who a year ago started not only to do this work, but also to desire to do it. So let me repeat that. Who a year ago started not only to do this work, but also a desire to do it. So now finish doing it as well, so that your readiness in desiring it may be matched by your completing it out of what you have. For if the readiness is there, it is acceptable according to what a person has, not according to what he does not have. Timothy 4:7, I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Galatians 6:9, let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap the harvest if we do not give up. So I just want to kind of sum some of this up a little bit. So don't just jump half-heartedly and find yourself drowning halfway across the ocean. Make the big leap. Okay, I'll say it. I thought about leaving this part out. So know when to wear the bulletproof vest to work. And with all of your heart and soul, knowledge, dreams, goals can sometimes be empty unless they become conviction, action, muscle, and accomplishment. So just know with all your heart you are not separate from the divine oneness of this universe. You are the divine oneness of this universe. The entire universe is within you. So what I'd like to do now is do a guided meditation. Maybe some have heard me do this meditation before, but I do like it, and it ties in with what we just talked about, or what I just talked about. I'm sorry, this is a one-way conversation here. I'll start this guided meditation, and as I get to the end, we'll just remain silent, and then I'll call us back to this meditation space to do the tithes. So the name of this meditation is Beyond Space and Time. So sit straight, so your head, neck, and chest are in alignment. Start by focusing in your heart area, in the middle of your chest, where your spiritual heart is located. With your mouth closed, breathe in and out of your chest, focusing on your heart as if it were breathing in and out through your heart. Breathe this deeply. Because of the purity of your seeking, many incredibly high beings are present, and with them comes the spiritual substance out of which all form derives. You can imagine that substance as a golden mist that fills the air. With every breath, don't just breathe in air. Imagine you are pulling into yourself this golden substance. Fill with it. Let it pour through your entire body. Deeply connect with yourself and who you are today, who you are in this moment, your perception of your truth. Breathe in the energy of this universe, the Shakti of this universe. Breathe in the breath of God. Let it fill your whole body. Each time you breathe out all of the things in you that keep you from knowing your true self. Breathe out all of your separateness. Breathe out all of the feelings of unworthiness. Breathe out all of the self-pity, all the attachments to your pain. Whether it's physical or psychological, breathe out anger, breathe out doubt, breathe out greed, breathe out all the confusion in your life. Breathe in God's breath and breathe out all the impediments that keep you from knowing God. Let the breath be the transformation. Now let the golden mist that is poured into your being focus in the middle of your chest. Let it take form as a tiny being, the size of a thumb, sitting on a lotus flower right in the middle of your chest, right in the middle of your heart. Notice its equanimity, the radiance that comes from within. Use your imagination as you look upon this being. See that it is radiating light. See the light pouring out. As you meditate upon it, experience the deep peace that is emanating from this being. Feel as you look upon this being that it is a being of great wisdom. It is sitting quietly, silently, perfectly poised in your heart. Feel its compassion, its love. Let yourself be filled with this love. Now slowly let that tiny being grow in size until it has filled your body. So its head fills the space of your head, its torso your torso, its arms your arms, its legs your legs. So now in the skin of your body sits this being, a being of infinite wisdom, a being of the deepest compassion, a being that is bathed in bliss, a being that is self-effulgent, radiating a very bright light, a being of perfect tranquility. Let this being begin to grow in size. Experience yourself growing until everything in the room around you is within your body. All of its sounds, all the sensory experience are all now coming from inside of you. Continue to grow. Feel your vastness, your peace, your equanimity. Your head extends into the sky. Expands until all of Boulder, your environment, all of those beings within them are contained within you. Experience the human condition. See the loneliness, joy, caring, violence, paranoia, a mother's love for her child, sickness, fear, and death. See it all. It is all within you now. See it with compassion and with caring, and at the same moment, feel the light pour through your being. Let yourself grow still larger. Feel your vastness increase until you are sitting in the middle of this galaxy, the earth deep within your belly. All humankind is within you. Feel the human condition now. Feel the turmoil and the longing. Feel the love, the beauty. Feel the emotion, the challenge, the perseverance. Feel the hope. Sit in this universe, silent, peaceful, compassionate, loving. All of the creations of human being minds are now within you. Look upon them with deep empathy and compassion. Continue to grow until not only this galaxy, but every galaxy is within you. Into everything you can conceive of is within you. All of it is inside of you. You are the only one. Feel your aloneness, your silence, your peace. There are no other beings here. All planes of consciousness are within you, and all beings are within you. You're now the Ancient One. Everything that ever was, is, or will be is part of the dance of your being. You are the universe. You are one with this universe. You have this infinite wisdom. You feel all of the feelings of the universe. So you have infinite compassion. Let the boundaries of your being dissolve and merge yourself into which is beyond form. Let it all be in its perfection. Set for a moment in the purity, formless perfection, and perfect peace, beyond thought. You are now beyond time and beyond space. Very gently, very slowly, let the boundaries of your vast being, the one, reestablish themselves. Vast, silent, all within you. Come back from beyond the one and slowly come down in size. Come down through the universe into this universe until your head is once again among the planets and the earth is within you. Come down again until your head is once again in the heavens and the cities are within you. Down in size until your head is at the top of your room. Down into the room and find the being who you thought you were when you began. See the journey of that being as it is living out this incarnation. See its fears, see your doubts, all the connections, see all the thoughts about objects, things to keep from being free.
Steve, your mic is open.
So I'd like to read this poem from Nadine Strand. If I had my life to live over. If I had my life to live over, I'd like to make more mistakes next time. I'd relax, I would limber up. I would be sillier than I have been on this trip, and I would take more chances. I would climb more mountains and swim more rivers. I would eat more ice cream and less beans. I would perhaps have more actual troubles, and I'd have a lot fewer imaginary ones. You see, I'm one of those people who live sensibly, insanely, hour after hour, day after day. Oh, I've had my moments, and if I had it all to do over again, I'd have more of them. In fact, I'd try to have nothing else but moments. Just moments, one after another, instead of living so many years ahead of each day. I've been one of those persons who never goes anywhere without a thermometer, a hot water bottle, a raincoat, a parachute. If I had it all to do it again, I would travel lighter than I have. If I had my life to live over, I would start barefoot earlier in the spring and stay that way later in the fall. I would go to more dances. I would ride more merry-go-rounds. And I would pick more daisies. So that line was, and I would pick more daisies. So that concludes our meditation service. As many know, we have refreshments over in Fellowship Hall. The first Sunday of every month, starting at 10:15, which is in 15 minutes, and it goes until 10:45. So the first Sunday every month, during that time window between the two services, I do a prayer meditation down in the meditation room. So you're all invited to join that meditation downstairs in the meditation room. It will start at 15 and go till 10:45. And once again, that meditation service, prayer meditation service, is done on the first Sunday of every month, and that happens to be today. So please join me if you like. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.